So I was just notified that if I don't clean up my act, I may have to stop making off-grid videos. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to do beauty and makeup videos. I mean, I don't know what else I know that I could make that would comply with the requirements that I'm being told I got to comply with. It's incredible. And I tell you, it all started when I started building this tiny house. Well, it started before that, actually. As you know, well, you may know, I mean, I've got a lot of new subscribers since I've moved in here. We had bought this property and it was just an absolute disaster. You can see the first day that I was on this property in my channel. You go to my channel right on the home page and it shows you the first day of off-grid living or whatever it was. And I'll put a little clip right here. This is the trailer, the infamous trailer. It's a mobile home that has been demolished. There's a toilet over there. But over on this side, lots of trash. We got lots of diapers sitting here. We immediately started cleaning up after we got the well running and we got the camper onto the off the truck and onto the property and we could live in it. We immediately started cleaning this place up, and we started with this trailer. This is our tiny house here, you know, the porch and the tiny house. Trailer, the mobile home, went all the way to that cedar tree over there you may see back there. So we've cut it way down. So it started with a toilet. When we were cleaning up the property, we were able to burn a lot of the materials and take a lot of the scrap away. And it wasn't too bad, but the toilet, we didn't have anything to do with. And a lot of the commenters was saying maybe you should make a flower pot out of it, whatever. But it just laid by the tiny house. Well, I can show you right where it laid. Laid right here, where this box is now. That's where our water tank is. And to me, it was more important to get busy building the tiny house than it was to worry about that toilet. But apparently, there was a lot of complaints made about the toilet laying there. And I guess they were concerned that the neighbors were going to be mad, which I don't have that many neighbors. I mean, think about this. The place was an absolute disaster. And we've cleaned it up enough at this point that really the only thing remaining that was a disaster that could be seen from the road was a toilet. But that was just more than anybody could stand. And there was a lot of complaints made about that. Well, we got rid of the toilet eventually. Well, then it was about the property. The property is still kind of messy. We understand that. It's always going to be a mess. This place was just basically a junkyard when we moved here. And that was kind of the appeal to us, was one, we got it really cheap because it was a junkyard and we have to keep an easement for the power company. You can see the power line, so that made it cheaper. And we knew that neighbors wouldn't complain about the place being a trash because we're actually making it better than it was. So to us, it was very appealing. But apparently, it was too much for the viewers to tolerate, so there was complaints made. Well, there's just nothing we can do about that. Carolyn comes out here and all the time cleans up, and I was back there cleaning up the brush piles and the mess, and I got the lawnmower eventually, and we were able to pull a bunch of fencing. The fencing had gotten buried into the ground, you know, over time it just settled into the ground. All that fencing, I got the lawnmower, I was able to pull that up. And we've gotten a lot of it cleaned up. Of course, now we got the camper down there in the chicken coop. And of course, the complaints just are non-stop about the mess. And then we got the wood pile, and we had tarps on it. We still have tarps, but they've kind of disintegrated. And the complaints were then that we needed camouflage tarps, so it's more appealing on the channel. Well, I wasn't going to go out and spend a fortune for camouflage tarps just so they can disintegrate in the sun. I mean, the sun, the UVs just eat up tarps. Now, we could have gotten white tarps. White tarps don't seem to disintegrate quite as bad, so we got white tarps for the chicken coop. And then they complained that we need to build an actual structure for the chickens because that's too ugly. And then we had the firewood, and the firewood makes the property look messy. And the big complaint was then, all the complaints were, if a tornado comes through here, it's going to pick up all that firewood and throw it into the neighbor's yard, and it could hurt somebody. There are a lot of people around here with stacks of firewood, so why is mine going to be the only one hurting people? Then we got the tiny house built. And boy, I tell you, well, the whole time I was building it, people were just complaining. And I've talked to you about that. that they were actually people calling the code inspectors around here, I don't know what you call them, property inspectors. Anyway, it was for the county, and people say, well, if you have a property inspector, then you're not far enough off grid. Well, every county has property inspectors or code enforcement or whatever it is. And they called the sheriff trying to get me in trouble for things that I hadn't been doing wrong. And I just made a video not too long ago about that. But we built a tiny house, and the complaints were just non-stop. Every step I took, there was a complaint. Every step. I wasn't doing something right. I needed to do this, got to do that. Now remember, I didn't have to follow code. I mean, I tried to follow code, but there was things that I could take shortcuts on because I didn't think it was necessary. But boy, I tell you, they just, every day I was getting nailed. And complaints were just pouring in all the time. And YouTube, on YouTube. So we finally got it built, and then finally the complaints started to die down. Well, YouTube started suppressing my videos. It was pretty obvious they were being suppressed. For about a year and a half, the complainers had won. Too much for YouTube, so they finally just shut me down. Well, just recently, they opened me back up, and my videos are doing pretty well. Channel's growing again. If you've been with me for any time, you know I was stuck at 49,800 subscribers for almost 2 years. Well, now, just in a couple months, what am I at? 85,000 subscribers, so I nearly doubled, or, well, not quite doubled, but it's been quite the explosion. Well, sure enough, I'm telling you, the complaints just pour in. And you can see that YouTube's starting to recognize the channel needs to be shut down again. So yesterday, I got a notification that I got to take some action. And you may notice that I did take some action. I got my hair cut. I can't believe some of the pettiness of the complaints. Now, some people are going to say, oh, don't listen to the haters, don't listen to the trolls. These aren't haters and trolls. These are just regular people. People have been subscribed to my channel forever. Now, yesterday, 2 days for you, I made a video and I was talking about the value of firewood and the value of food, especially if things go bad. I think, and I think a lot of people think, we're heading into a depression. And we got to start thinking of like the people back in the day when depression had hit. They weren't worried about toilets laying on the ground or the yard completely messed up. They weren't worried about their neighbors, grass not being cut. Matter of fact, people were being evicted from their homes. They couldn't afford their homes. So the neighbors would come around and they would bid on the home for the people. So let's say I'm getting ready to lose my home, can't afford it anymore. My neighbor's coming over, and during the auction, they bid it, they win, and they give it back to me. So neighbors were trying to help each other out, and they weren't being petty about, oh, your firewood doesn't have camouflage tarps on it. It's very messy. Get that cleaned up. So here I am trying to discuss how we're going to survive a depression if it hits. And the biggest complaint during that whole video, I bet I got, I don't know, 2 or 3 dozen, 4 dozen complaints filed to YouTube about my eyebrow. I had a eyebrow hair hanging out. That was the big deal. And so I guess what I'm going to have to do now is change my channel over to a beauty and makeup channel to appeal to the pettiness of the people who watch off-grid channels. I thought that being off-grid meant you didn't have to worry about all those things. You're worried about how to eat, how to keep warm, how to get your water, trying to keep your water from freezing. There's a lot of things that we can talk about that are important, so we all can live happy and free. And that's the thing, when you actually become free, you don't have to worry about your eyebrow hairs. As a matter of fact, we don't have a lot of wall space in this tiny house for a mirror so I can sit there and groom myself. Make sure that we're doing things appropriately. I know, we're in a YouTube channel. You gotta dress for success. No, I don't think that's true. If you are forced into a situation during a depression, your success is going to be can I eat? Can I heat my home? Do I have water? You're not going to be worried about taking a shower every 30 seconds. As a matter of fact, you'd be lucky if you're going to get a shower every week or two. Washing your clothes, trying to figure out how you can get enough water for the clothes. This is my mirror. When we had the camper on the back of the truck, we were traveling the country, we had to buy these extended mirrors so we could see past the camper. Well, when we took the camper off, I didn't need them anymore. So Carolyn disassembled it, and that's our mirror. I don't go out to the barber and cut my hair and spend money and make sure I'm all groomed and pretty for my beauty and makeup channel, because I don't have one of those. What I have is this. It's a rechargeable clippers. And I really like these because with these I can charge off with my modified sine wave inverter. With regular clippers that you plug in, I would have to run the generator so I can get pure sine wave. What I do is about every 3 months, I just clip my own hair. Now, the big complaint about that is one time I didn't have Carolyn clean up my neck. So I had all the scraggly stuff. So the big complaint, and that's when I was still listening to the YouTube complaint section, that, I got to clean my neck. So I had Carolyn start cleaning my neck. But if something happens to Carolyn, I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess what I'll have to do to appease everybody is just shave my head with a razor. Actual razor. That way I'll look good on camera for my beauty and makeup channel. I tell you, it really did kind of infuriate me that this was the pettiness. I replied back to one person, grow up. How childish. And I thought, that's going to get somebody to think, yeah, that is kind of childish. Who talks about that kind of stuff? 8th graders. But no, people defended the guy. People defended him that I needed, yeah, that was really distracting. I couldn't watch your video because of that one eyelash or eyebrow hair. So you missed the importance of the video because of an eyebrow hair. It's quite petty. And the thing is, my audience is relatively old. About 50 and up is the majority of the audience. Well, there was many people who complained. I would have to say there were some people who were 50 and up. I would suggest that if you're going to want to live off grid, that you give up the notion that you're going to worry about your beauty, and instead you're going to worry about your freedom. Tell you, it's a lot better. So if you can click this up next box, it'll take you to the video that I was talking about the depression. So I hope I can inspire you. Take your freedom seriously so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.